them which they have built themselves. The Concern 2 group have built themselves.
What are the booths?
Well, they have lots of sports booths like baseball, football, like throwing a ball through. They have three. They have Joe Carter, Andy, and Brooke, I think, and they have holes in their gloves. And if you throw it through a certain hole,
I see.
you get a prize or whatever.
So sort of a carnival where you win things?
That kind of stuff. With
what do you win?
Stuffed animals, I guess. I don't know.
Really?
But also they're going to have magicians and unicyclers, and they're going to have a bunch of characters from SeaWorld and Toys R Us. And
Greg's going to be at a teddy bear toss. That's going to be
really?
Yeah.
What is the object of that event?
I'm really not sure at this point.
No, I know. They told me like, you three big teddy bears and you throw a hula hoop, and I guess if it goes all the way down,
you get a teddy bear.
That's it.
How did you get involved with the event?
Well, it's called the Cleveland Sports Carnival, and so they came to get the sports area celebrities. We decided that we would go ahead and do it because they do a lot for us coming out and supporting us, and now we want to go out and give a little back.
It's going to be at the hospital?
No, at the convention center.
Downtown. Father's Day. 5 to 9 this Sunday.
I'm going to try to get it started off with a win against the Royals on Sunday.
Well, I think you will because you're 8-1 so far. You don't need Kreskin. You're doing all right all by yourself.
No, I can use Kreskin.
Let me ask you the standard stock reporter's question. How do you feel? 8-1.
I feel great. The team's struggling along, but when I'm out there, I try to give them a little extra fire, try to get the team going, and I think they notice that when I'm out there, so they play a little bit harder.
Are you maintaining hopes for a pennant?
Yeah, at this point, we have to. We're in second place.
Greg is modest. He says he does it with mirrors and smoke. I say he does it with talent.
We have to say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend and happy Father's Day.
See you later.
John Shulock at second and Dan Morrison at third. McDowell 1 for 4 with a couple of RBIs last night. And ahead in the count 2-0. Otoby walked twice last night. The Indians collected 11 walks against Texas pitching last night. That's why the game went 3 hours and 14 minutes. Hit hard and past Palmero into right field for a base hit. So Otoby starts things off nicely against his old team. Jerry Brown, the guy coming to home plate, another ex-Ranger, has really enjoyed, Mike, playing against these former teammates.
Boy, he sure has, and he did a whale of a job last night. 2 for 4, a career high, 4 runs batted in.
Jerry, who is hitting now at .239 with a home run and 11 RBIs, has 7 hits and 13 at-bats against Texas. Michelle in on the grass at third. Moyer, as you would expect with his abilities to change speeds and not really overpower you, has to be around the strike zone, has to get ahead of the hitters. Moyer is 26 years old now, in his 4th year in the big leagues. He's out of St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia.
He's got a good move, too, Jack, to first base.
Outside corner with the breaking ball, 1-1. His other big claim to fame, in addition to being a pretty fair baseball player, is he can get into some interesting discussions about basketball with his father-in-law, Digger Phelps of Notre Dame. Now, the Indians have not stolen many bases, in part because McDowell and Brown early in the season were not getting on. Otoby has 3 stolen bases. He and Joe Carter share the team lead.
They have also had problems, especially against left-handers, being picked off when they would try to cheat, get a big jump, and a lot of them have been picked off that way. He hasn't shown McDowell his good move yet.
Of course, the problem in a weather situation like this tonight, the longer this game stretches out, the harder it's going to be to make it a legal game, a complete game, at least from what the weather indications are. Upstairs to Jerry Brown, 2 balls and 1 strike. If you're just joining us, we talked with Brooks Jacoby before the ball game, and Moyer is a little bit of a backwards pitcher in that he gives you the breaking ball in fastball situations and vice versa. Rounded fair down the line at third. McDowell on his way to third, and Jerry Brown's going to have a 2-base hit. So the first 2 ex-Rangers come up and say, how do you do to the home folks, the Tribe in business here in the first inning.
And so far, that's what I meant, Jack. You know, the last time, and we'll see how he progresses here, but he has started guys off with breaking balls and then gone to the fastball when behind. That looked like a hard slider, but it was on the middle of the plate. So he has changed a little bit. Let's see how he handles Joe Carter in a tough situation right here. And I just checked some lightning above. The oohs and ahs were not for the base hit.
Joe Carter looks at a breaking ball for a ball 1. Joe went 1 for 3 last night. RBI double, a sacrifice fly. He also walked a couple of times, both of them intentional. Two and nothing. The high point, or maybe we should say the low point of all the walks last night. Kenny Rogers, one of the relief pitchers for Texas, intentionally walked Joe Carter and then unintentionally walked Pete O'Brien and Corey Snyder to force in a run.
See the Ranger defense playing back with Carter. They will give up a run for an out here in this situation early in the ball game. Try to protect against the big inning.
Excellent speed on the bases, so any base hit is going to score both men. Joe went after the high fastball, 2-1. In the air in the infield. That'll keep everybody in place as Franco backs up into short right field. McDowell is going to come to the plate and score. Great decoy by Oddibe McDowell. Sacrifice fly of about 120 feet for Joe Carter.
Well, Joe Carter better go over and give Oddibe a big hug because he bailed him out right there.
I can tell you, I have never written in a scorebook, sacrifice fly 4. Wow. What a decoy he pulled on Franco.
That's just a routine pop-up, and Julio backpedaling here. Julio had a little trouble right there catching the ball, and that may have been the difference, but Oddibe went back and tagged. He had to take that look, and then took a while to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, once he took the look, Oddibe never hesitated, and Joe Carter gets his 12th RBI of the season, second best on the ball club. Here is Pete O'Brien. Two balls and no strikes on Pete, who went 0 for 3 last night, but walked a couple of times. Just 5 for 20 on the road trip, but remains the #1 hitter in the American League at 386. Two and one. The key for Moyer, in addition to that excellent changeup that Mike Ferraro, the advanced scout for the Yankees, talked about, is where he puts that changeup. He has to keep it down in the strike zone. 3 balls and 1 strike on Pete O'Brien.
Looked like they may have had a play on there. Sundberg really popped out. Jerry Brown getting the big lead. A lot of times they'll do that on the breaking ball, especially with a runner at second base who likes to be aggressive and take the big lead.
Inside, Pete O'Brien draws the walk. 14th time Pete has gotten the free pass.
What they will do, Jack, is call that breaking ball, set up the pickoff, because you get a guy like Brown who takes a big lead anyway, and then when the pitch is an off-speed pitch, he has a tendency to be leaning toward third base, and you get him frozen out there. See a lot of guys picked off that way.
We're going to get some activity already in the Rangers bullpen. Brad Arnsbard is coming out and will begin to loosen up. Corey Snyder, 1 for 3 last night, an RBI, without taking the bat off his shoulders. He walked a couple of times. Fastball, strike one. Odubel McDowell began the ball game with a base hit if you're just joining us. Jerry Brown followed with a double inside the bag at third. Joe Carter with a sacrifice fly to the second baseman. And now Pete O'Brien with a walk. 1-1.
That was that changeup right there that he has missed with. He's not sharp so far tonight, is he?
He's got it up, and the changeup not only has it been out of the strike zone, but when it's up like that, second time around, people got a little better idea how to time that pitch up. Good location there with the fastball in on the hands of Corey Snyder. That's the basic pattern against right-handers by Jamie Moyer. Use the change, then the fastball inside. You can see Corey pulling his hands back. Good camera angle there. Now 2-2 as he comes back with that fastball. And 3-2.
And the rains have started.
Umbrellas popping out, jackets going on. Not very hard at this point, but they are telling us that it may be around for a while if it gets strong enough to stop play. Full count on Snyder with 2 on, 1 out, and a run home here in the top of the first inning for the Indians. Got him. The changeup up and out, and Corey goes down. First strikeout for Moyer, 24 on the season in 28-plus innings.
The thing that makes that pitch so effective is that he throws it with the exact same delivery and same arm speed as the fastball, and he takes 8 to 10 miles an hour off the pitch, so it looks like a fastball coming up there. You begin your swing, and the ball isn't there yet.
2 on, now 2 out for Louis Medina. Outside corner for a strike. Louis at 243 with a couple of home runs and 4 RBIs. Went 0 for 2 last night when the Rangers went to some left-handed relief pitching. He struck out both times. In fact, Louis has just a couple of hits in his last 16 at-bats. But those 2 hits happen to be home runs, so you want to give this young man plenty of opportunity to get comfortable in the big leagues. Bottom dropped out of that one. That might have been his best changeup of the night.
In terms of location, because the one that he threw to Snyder was high. That one, watch this right here. Good delivery. That ball starts about knee-high, and by the time it gets to the plate, it's almost at your feet.
So Moyer is ahead of Medina, 1-2. Now 2-2. Third inning at Toronto, 4-0. The Blue Jays over Oakland. Rance Mullinex hit a grand slam home run in the first inning off of Bobby Welch. Charlie Manuel, Tribe hitting instructor, and Doc Edwards in the corner of the Tribe dugout. Indians in the third base dugout here in Texas. Got him. Fastball on the hands. That does it for the Indians, but they get a run midway through the first. 1-0 Tribe.
Getting ready to make his 5th start of the year. The last 3 starts. He has pitched well, but nothing to show for it. 3 no decisions, and before the ball game, I talked to Andy Allenson and asked him whether he might be under a little bit of a pressure situation, not having had a decision in his last 3 starts.
Well, that's something that's out of a pitcher's control. Greg has a job to go out and keep the other team off balance as far as changing speed, moving the ball around, and at the same time, just trying to keep us in a ball game, give us an opportunity to win. And Greg's doing that for us. Now it's up to the hitters and the offense to respond, and hopefully put enough runs on the board to hopefully here come out on top.
Well, the Tribe put 1 run on the board in the top of the first, so Swindell has a 1-0 lead as he faces the Rangers, with the rain continuing to fall here in the bottom of the first inning.
That 1-0 lead for the Tribe is 1 more run than Greg got in his work against Texas last week, and Espy off the hands, bloops a base hit. So the leadoff man is aboard for Texas, and you're looking at the best base stealer in the American League talking there with Pete O'Brien, at least tied for the top spot with 14 stolen bases. Bobby Valentine has certainly juggled his lineup around to tangle with Swindell tonight. Rafael Palmeiro, normally the number 3 hitter, batting second tonight. Scott Fletcher has been given the night off. Palmeiro is hitting at .299 with 3 home runs and 16 RBIs. Went 0 for 4 last night. And it was the first time in 17 ball games that he didn't get on base. Now 1-1. To try and keep an eye for you with the split screen on Espy, who they feel really still is stealing. Davey Lopes, one of their coaches down here, says Espy's really just stealing now on speed alone.
When you get a guy like Espy with that great natural speed, if you can add the dimension of being able to read the pitchers, read their deliveries, picking good pitches.
Ground ball past O'Brien, and it'll be 2 on with nobody out for Texas. The Tribe got the first 2 men on in the top of the inning and scored a run. And Pete Incaviglia will be the hitter now with 2 on and nobody out for Texas. Espy's was an excuse me hit, but Palmeiro was right on that pitch. Incaviglia went 0 for 3 last night with a walk, stranded a number of men last night. Got an opportunity here in the first inning tonight. For Greg Swindell, the opportunities to pitch in Texas are always important to him, being a native Texan with lots of people in attendance here tonight rooting him on, so maybe the adrenaline has to slow down a bit. Espy bluff going, and now they've got Palmeiro caught between first and second. Andy Allenson runs. Now they will work on Espy. And this is what you want to do, get Espy off the bases. They tag Espy. And Palmeiro goes back to first. There was a missed sign by somebody.
Well, I saw that happen last night in the ball game against the Cubs and the Giants. The guy at second, and really what happens, Jack, is the runner at first base cannot go until that runner at second base makes the move. And it was a double steal, but Espy either felt that he didn't get a good jump or for whatever reason hesitated. But Palmeiro kept coming. He ran right into Espy.
Ran with his head down, yep, without question.
And you're absolutely right. That's the guy you want to get off the base right there. Not only is the lead runner, but he's the guy with the most speed.
2-3-5-6 on the caught stealing. And a 1-1 count on Incaviglia. 1-2. The Yankees have taken the lead after 5 innings in New York, 3-2 against Kansas City. That's Gubaza and Tommy John. Got him. For the 7th time in 13 at-bats, Pete Incaviglia has fanned against Greg Swindell.
Well, he just overpowers Incaviglia right here. As you see, Allison set up away, and he just threw that fastball right by him, up and out over the plate. Outside corner, perfect spot. You talked about Incaviglia shortening his stride.
Not anymore, folks.
Check that from that high camera angle. He was spread out all over the place.
California 2-0 over Baltimore. That game in the top of the 5th at Baltimore. Baltimore and New York tied for the top spot in the American League at 12-12 in the American League East, that is. Texas still leading the West by a half a game over Oakland. Sierra was backing away as the pitch came to the plate for a called strike. Milwaukee still batting. They've got a run home against Chicago in the first. No score in the 4th inning at the Metrodome between Boston and Minnesota. Dobson against Tolliver. Good change of speed there by Swindell. He's got 1-1 on the board, but I thought home plate umpire Tim Welke made a strike call, yes. And he is now signaling 0-2 down on the field. We'll give you the Snapper Channel 43 mow 'em down with a Tribe contestant tonight. But we'll have to do that next inning because 2 strikeouts, not 3 for a winner, but the Indians lead after an inning, 1-0. TV Channel 43 serving Lorain, Cleveland, the TV home of the Tribe. Mike Hegan and yours truly, Jack Corrigan. The Indians leading at 1-0 here in the top of the 2nd, and we're trying to get 5 innings in before this rain is a little too much, and we'll have to wait and see. Brooke Jacoby grounds the ball to Jeff Kunkel, the shortstop, and that's out number 1.
Doesn't look like it's had much effect on the field yet. The first of 2 college nights at the stadium takes place on Friday, May 5th, when the Indians battle with the Minnesota Twins. A pregame party will take place at the North Coast Harbor, just adjacent to the ballpark. College students and their dates can see the Tribe for only $5 per ticket. That's a $3 savings, so get your seats today for that one. Friday, May 5th, the first of 2 college nights at the stadium.
Andy Allenson now the hitter for the Tribe. Andy 1 for 5 last night, but has had a very good road trip working on a 4-game hit streak. Batting average has climbed to 221. That might not seem like much, but Andy was down in the 140 and change range before this road trip. Dallas area buzz with the news this afternoon that new Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has fired Gil Brandt, the longtime personnel director for the Cowboys. In fact, he was the final original member of the Cowboys organization, and he was let go today. Been with the team for 29 years. Inside corner, 2-2 on Allenson.
He brought a whole truckload of brooms with him when he came, didn't he?
Well, a friend of mine from Cleveland, Dan Werner, is still working for the Cowboys, but when I talked to Dan yesterday, he said, I don't know for how much longer. Bobby Valentine not concerned early in this one. And Allenson chases a bad pitch, and that's strikeout number 3 for Moyer. Halftime of the NBA game between Philadelphia and New York. The Sixers leading the Knicks 52-47.
Well, that changeup that we have talked about, Andy right there, and just couldn't hold back. Get your way out over that front foot.
Felix Fermin, Tribe shortstop at 266 with 6 RBIs. Felix went 2 for 3 last night, was on base 4 times, and scored all 4 times. On the hands to center field. Espy is there. The Tribe done in the 2nd. 1-0 Indians, middle of 2.
In 1987, we squared off against Burger King and won. Best tasting, best quality. In 88, we ran rings around McDonald's.
We have to let you know who our Snapper Channel 43 mow 'em down with a Tribe contestant is tonight, as the fans, some bundling up and others not worrying about the rain. Mary Peck from Northfield Center is tonight's contestant, and if an Indians pitcher strikes out the side without a run scoring, Mary will win a snapper high-vac self-propelled mower. Julio Franco will lead it off, followed by Buddy Bell and Steve Buechele. Julio was on base 4 times last night with a couple of hits and a couple of walks, and his 10-game hitting streak has got his batting average up to .321. This last year, Julio posted the best batting streak in the American League. No doubt this young man can hit. In the air to right field, Corey Snyder drifting in, looking through the raindrops. Out number 1. One interesting note for you Cleveland fans, down here in Texas, they are introducing Julio as Julio C. Franco. Cesar is his middle name, and they introduce him that way. And there's some Cleveland fans. Cleveland and Youngstown, there you go. We had a number of people stop Mike and I during the pregame activities here at the ballpark who were either down visiting or ex-Clevelanders. Speaking of ex-Clevelanders, Buddy Bell at the plate. Buddy in his second ball game since coming off the disabled list. He had arthroscopic surgery on his knee back on April 11th. Medical science is amazing now, isn't it?
Well, it is.
A month and he's back in the lineup.
The thing that amazes me is Higuera, who had the back surgery on January 20th. He pitched last night.
Buddy held up, and it's 3-0. Jimmy Warfield, the Indians trainer, said what was most amazing about Buddy's surgery was that there was actually some cartilage still in there that they couldn't do an operation on, because he's had a lot of knee problems in a very fine big league career. Swinging on 3-0, and Joe Carter makes the play for out number 2. Joe having problems with the lights and the rain. This broadcast is authorized under television rights granted Gaylord Broadcasting Company of Ohio by the Cleveland Indians solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians and Gaylord Broadcasting is prohibited.
Joe saying he needs a pair of windshield wipers out there. You know, you run into that rain and the rain in your eyes, and you begin to squint. You lose the baseball.
Third baseman Steve Buechele now the hitter. Buechele at .263 with a couple of home runs and 12 RBIs. 1 for 3 last night. Well, you talk about keys for different ball clubs. Certainly for the Indians, Greg Swindell is the guy that has to come up with the 20 victory season, or at least in that 15 to 20 range for this ball club to be competitive. And for the first time in his career, he's had 3 consecutive no decisions. One thing about Zeke, he usually gets a decision one way or another. 2-1 pitch. He's had trouble getting his changeup and breaking ball in tonight, Mike. Of course, that's in part with the wet weather.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It's raining and maybe a little difficult to grip the baseball. And although it still doesn't look like it has had any effect on the playing surface.
Now a full count on Buechele.
What you'd like to get